Come gather round people wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around you have grown, and accept it, that soon you'll be drenched to the bone. If your time to you is worth saving, then you had better start swimming, or you will sink like a stone. For the times have changed. We are still reeling as a nation from the violence that was perpetrated upon our homosexual brethren down there in the Orlando area. I don't know if you guys have been listening to it, but it has made my heart quite heavy for the past few weeks, fortnight. The violence. Went to that Pride event. It was very nice to see nobody there telling them to fucking stop it, so that's nice. I've got a little bit more to speak about the things that are going on in this country right now. I know that is moving from religion to politics, but go get fucked. Religion, that's the purpose of religion, right? Secret politics. Anyway, let's talk about the term sodomite, alright? You're hearing it quite a lot lately, as if it's an alright term. And I just want to point out that sodomite is no better than the word faggot. If you hear people saying the sodomites, that is an extremely and utterly and violently bigoted term. And if you don't believe me, that's fine. I'll prove it right here. Don't believe me, I don't care. You will at the end. And if you don't, you're an asshole. So here we go. Where does the word sodomite come from? Everybody knows that. A sodomite was the inhabitant of the ancient city of Sodom. Let's start off by saying Sodom is nowhere. We cannot find it, alright? We cannot find Sodom, we cannot find Gomorrah, we cannot find the other two cities that were destroyed in this cataclysmic event. Alright? Let's start off by saying that Sodomites are mythological. It's part of a story from a long time ago. Abraham did not live. And it was about his time that three angels came to Abraham. While he was sitting in his house, three angels were walking by. And Abraham espied them. And he said to them, "Oh, hello, angels. Please tarry the night at my house." And they said, "Yes, I will." And then all of a sudden the three angels were the Lord. And then Abraham was talking to the Lord. And the Lord liked Abraham because of, I don't know, he cut his kid's dick off. And so the Lord's talking to him and he's like, "You know what, Abraham, I'm going to tell you what I'm about to do. I'm going to let you in on my secret." And so then he told Abraham that he was on his way to Sodom and Gomorrah because he was about to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah with fire and brimstone. And Abraham said, "But if there's 10 good people in Sodom and Gomorrah, would you spare it?" And God said, "Of course I would. But there's no good people in Sodom and Gomorrah, so I'm going to destroy it." Because that's what you get. When there's no good people left, God will destroy your city. So then the angels went to Sodom and Gomorrah, Sodom, where Lot was living for some reason. Lot was a believer, he was in Hebrew, but he was living in a city of Sodomites. So when the angels got there, Lot saw them and brought them into his house and he fed them food and the angels ate it. So I don't know what fucking kind of angels these were that ate food before the resurrection. Well before the resurrection. I don't know of any beings in this universe that had celestial bodies, that had angelic bodies, except for God the Eternal Father. I don't know how his angels got those bodies and why on earth they would eat unleavened bread, because it's not very good at all. And Lot said, "What are you guys doing here?" And they said, "We're going to destroy this place." This is what they said, Genesis 19:13. "For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxen great before the face of the Lord. and the Lord has sent us to destroy it. So the Lord was walking on the earth with these two angels, just chilling with Abraham, but by the time it got to time to kill everybody, the Lord's nowhere. He's afraid to show his face. And everyone of the city came to Lot's house, and they knocked on the door and they said, "Oi, we saw those two gorgeous angels going into your house, and we'd like you to bring them out so that we may know them, and of course the Bible, so that we may forcibly and anally rape them," is what they were saying. Now I don't know why, but that was their motivator. They were into it. Of course, everyone in the city was evil. God was about to destroy it. And so Lot did the only thing a man of God could do. He offered his two virgin daughters to the rape party so that they wouldn't rape the angels, because we can't have that. What we can have, however, is the rape of our two daughters. That's a better alternative to these angels becoming molested by the crowd for some reason. And they said, no, that's fine. You know, your daughters are virgins and everything, but we're not interested in that. Because we're not terrible people. We're not monsters, Lot. We're not going to rape your virgin daughters, although evil people would. No, we just want to rape the angels, because that sounds rad. So that's what Sodomites were about. And so that's why we think that the Sodomites were homosexuals. That's why we use their name interchangeably with homosexuals, because of that weird, strange act that they wanted to do things to those angels. And if they weren't homosexuals, of course, they would have raped the daughters. Well, if Lot had lived there in a city of homosexuals, if he'd been living there, he would have known that offering women to a city of homosexuals is not an offer. Yeah, he did offer it, so what the fuck is going on in this book? So anyway, then Lot goes out to the men that have married his other daughters and his daughters' houses, and he says, "Hey, this city's about to be destroyed, everybody get out." And they were all like, "Oh, Lot, you're lying." They didn't believe him. So they died in the city, and then he went back to his house, and the angels picked up him and his wife and his two daughters, and he moved them out of the city, flew them out, I guess. And then they went back in and they waited for Lot to get to a safe point, although they said they didn't. But they did. He was in a city before they set off the bomb that killed all the Sodomites, the disgusting animals that God fried in hellfire and brimstone. So let's read this. Let's wait for our brothers and sisters. I don't mean anything gendered by that. I don't see gender. They tell me I'm a male and I believe them because I'm so told. Anyway, let's listen from the Bible, the great and Old Testament, where we get our wonderful morality from. "And the Lord rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. And he overthrew these cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities and that which grew upon the ground." So, God didn't just kill the faggots, killed all the women, killed all the children, he killed the animals, and he killed the plants. Because gay is gross. And that's what a Sodomite deserves. Fire from the sky when all the good people are gone. We'll gather them all together in one city so that God can burn them together, just like the faggots in the fire. Now let's talk a little bit more about Lot. The only man who walked out of that city. The great and wonderful Lot, who was allowed to be spared from the destruction of the faggots in Sodom. Later, his wife, of course, turned, because why not? She turned to a pillar of salt because, of course. That's what happens when you look back. Turn into salt. So his two daughters were with him up in the wilderness, because they went from the city to the wilderness for no reason. And they were all up there, and the two daughters said, you know what? Dad's not going to have any kids now. So let's have his kids. And so Lot's two daughters became impregnated by their father, but he is excused of that trespass. And those two nations grew up, and that's the whole point of the story, is to say that that nation over there is descended from Lot and his daughter, and that disgusting people over there are descended from his other daughter. The whole point of the story, when you get right down to the end of it, is to tell your kids why they're allowed to hate those people. Because they're faggots. They're sodomites. So beware of someone who's willing to use that word, sodomite, because they don't know what it means. They just don't want to be caught using the word faggot. But let's talk a little bit about who the real sodomites are, what the real sin of Sodom was. Because after that, Ezekiel told us. He told us what was wrong with the sodomites and what they did. And let's listen a little bit to God telling us why he hated these cities. Now this was the sin of your sister Sodom. She and her daughters, talking about Gomorrah and the other cities of the plains, were arrogant, overfed, and unconcerned. They did not help the poor and needy. They were haughty and did detestable things before me. Therefore I did away with them, as you have seen. Here is Ezekiel telling us that the sin of Sodom was not her morality, her strange sexual ways, but how overfed and uncaring she was. That was the sin of Sodom. And who are today's sodomites? The LGBT community? I don't think so. Are they overfed? Are they uncaring? I don't think so. So, don't use that word. It's the S word. Come, senators and congressmen, please heed the call. Don't stand in the doorways. Don't block up the halls. For he who gets hurt will be he who is stalled. The battle outside raging will soon shatter your windows and rattle your walls, for the times have changed.